Hello and welcome to Interface, a weekly podcast about technology with me, James Farley, and Matt Murray.
Hello. This is a weekly podcast, right, James?
It's not really a weekly podcast, is it, Matt?
No, every episode now we're apologising to listeners, you, the listener, right, listening to us right now, we are apologising to every episode because we can't stick to a schedule at all. It's impossible. So this isn't an excuse, but James and I also do another podcast called The Computer Game Show, at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, if you want to follow it, whatever. It's on iTunes, etc. We do that. That's basically like concrete every Monday. There's 4 of us. It's not just me and James. That's a guarantee. And then James and I are trying to fit like another podcast night in the week. We're both busy dads. Any more excuses, James?
No, just they're good.
We're busy. You know, we're both busy, and after a long day, and I'm usually up like at 6 in the morning doing a run. You know, by 10 o'clock we're tired. We're trying to squeeze games in as well, and yeah. So I guess this is my way of saying sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
this sucks.
We did really try it. Like on Monday last week, we really tried. We said
actually started recording, didn't we?
We were going to do back-to-back recordings. You know, we started doing one just before the computer game show, and then David Turner's ruined this by telling us that we had to go and podcast immediately.
David Turner, if you're not aware, he's the host of our other podcast, the Computer Game Show. So I'm sure anyone listening to this is aware of David Turner's, but if you're not, he basically stopped us recording Interface, which we had already started because we had to record our other show. So yeah, we were totally organised, and then I got busy and James got busy, and you know.
Well, basically what we're trying to say is that it was David's fault that there wasn't a podcast last week.
Yeah, because we were totally ready for that. I mean, I don't know what we can do. Like try fortnightly. I don't know. We'll probably definitely get one out for fortnight, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's kind of looking that way. It's sort of going that way. But anyway, let's continue and see what we
Welcome to the weekly podcast. It is Interface.
There is another one that you can subscribe to, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually really like that one, but anyway, let's not big them up too much.
Okay,
yeah.
So first of all,
follow up from about 4 weeks ago.
I think you've noted down here about your wireless headphones.
Well, yeah, so on the last show back in 2007, or whenever that last show was, we talked about my wireless headphones, the fact I got some cheap Bluetooth headphones, the fact they were indestructible and have been perfect since launch, or since I bought them. Well, they broke basically the day after we recorded last, so I've bought some other ones. Last ones are £15. I think I learnt my lesson. Pounds on for £10. These are basically the identical design, which is weird, but identical design, £5 cheaper. But now when I go to skip a track, it says music skipped, and you can't turn that voice off. Which is a bit annoying. Also, when it connects on Bluetooth, it's like it says the connection. I don't know why it says that, but God knows these are probably made for like 50p. Anyway, so yeah, I would love some really good headphones, much like your Beats.
Yeah, you see, that's one of the other cool things about the Beats actually, because when you switch them on, it doesn't like say anything rubbish like, you know, made a connection or anything like that. It does this really cool like sort of synth like music plays. Which it sounds a bit like, Stranger Things. You know the music from that.
Yeah.
It does that. It's got like 2 tones. But so my Beats are not what you thought either.
No, because again on the last show, you were talking about your Beats. I did a quick Google during the show to find out what they were. You said they were Solo 2s. I then checked and thought, wow, James got his massive Beats that are like footballers, and they were white. I was like, this isn't really how I imagine James walking down the street. And then I find out that actually you got the smaller round the ear ones, not the huge cup ones.
That's right. I mean,
were you lying to me? What was that about?
I think maybe I may have made a mistake on the model number, which may have sent you in the wrong direction.
So what ones have you got? Because you said Solo 2, and I looked at Solo 2, and those were huge ones. What are yours actually called?
My ones are called. Let's have a look. They're Power Beats. They're just called like Beats, Power Beats, something.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, so I felt like a right idiot when I found out afterwards that actually you didn't have these huge, massive cans. You actually just had smaller smaller Beats wireless headphones. But are you still liking them? Are you still loving them? Are you still wearing them every day? Are you wearing them or using them more? Are you getting annoyed of charging? What's the deal?
Absolutely love them. Use them constantly. It's and the charging isn't annoying either.
6 hours, is it?
Yeah, 6 hours, which seems to be long enough. I mean, usually, maybe by the evening, I find like, okay, now they're sort of going into red territory, but I can just plug them in and they charge really quickly as well.
So you're wearing them all day, are you?
Pretty much, yeah.
What do you do with the annoyance with, like, you know, at work I have like just regular headphones, but I'm constantly switching like my headphones between like my Mac, my iMac at work, and my phone if I want to listen to my phone, or someone sends me a video, etc. Like, there's no easy way for you to switch your headphones to listen to stuff on a computer versus your phone, is there?
It's not too difficult. You just click the Bluetooth icon, you know, like in the menu bar, and then it has them there, like already there as a device.
Oh, right, because you paired them with both devices.
Yeah, you just click connect and it's done. It's pretty painless.
Oh, cool.
Although
okay.
I do still often use like wired headphones with the computer, to be honest, just because it's just kind of easier.
I mean, we're obviously speaking about wireless headphones because we're obviously discussing the fact that Apple are going to drop the headphone port off the next iPhone. I mean, and there's been more leaked pictures this week of this Lightning to 3.5mm adapter. Mm-hmm. So, but it feels really obvious now that they're going to obviously, well, one, they're definitely going to drop it, but two, they're just going to pack in Lightning AirPods, and they might sell some special Bluetooth AirPods or whatever's been patented or trademarked, but it feels like with the phone itself, the iPhone 7. Although actually today I heard a rumor on another podcast. They said actually they might not call it a 7, they might call it a 6 SE.
Yeah, I saw that. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it makes sense in many ways. You know, it gets saved a 7 for like the big change, which is, you know, the fully glass display, curved and OLED panel, and maybe no home button, all these things which have been rumoured for the next year's iPhone. It makes sense to sort of save them and save the iPhone 7 name. And you know, the rumours this year, it's basically exactly saying they might move the antennas, it will drop the headphone port, it might have dual cameras and stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's a bit strange, but I also wouldn't be surprised. One thing that does make me think that they won't do it is that that would mean that next year there will be a Samsung Galaxy S7 and I guess this year there'll be the S7 and then iPhone will feel like it's a generation behind. I think Sony had an issue with this, or Xbox had an issue years ago where they didn't want to call the Xbox. They changed the name because they didn't want to appear like a generation behind PlayStation.
They didn't want to call it the Xbox 2 because then the PlayStation 3 was out, so that's when they came up with the 360 instead.
I could see similar for you know, Samsung S phones versus the iPhone. So I'm not sure. What do you think? Do you think they will do that?
I don't think they will, because I mean, the earnings were out recently, weren't they? And they are down.
They were.
Like, they're not as good as obviously they have been before. And it just feels a bit like if they release another phone, which is like another SE phone, because there's already been the SE early in the year, it feels, you know, are people really going to be excited about that, or are they just going to think, I'm going to wait until the genuinely new phone comes out?
Yeah, but I mean, if they call it the iPhone 7 and it's just, you know, it's the same phone, move antennas, you know, no headphone port, I mean, obviously there's probably definitely stuff they're hiding that hasn't been leaked or rumoured, but that barely feels like an S upgrade, let alone an S, you know, a full number upgrade. But
wasn't there rumours also about like the you know, the home button changing and it becoming like a haptic one instead?
Yeah, so it will feel like you're clicking even though you're not. But apparently the reason they were doing that now is that's to pave the way for actually next time they will just fully remove it and just have like a full glass front display, and it will just be an area of the phone you touch and it vibrates in a certain area to feel like a button, but who knows? I mean, God knows what's happening with Apple at the moment. I mean, they haven't released a new Mac update in 50 years or any of the new Macs really. Apple Watch sales have been apparently bombing and just like 50% less than they were, you know, earlier in the year. And the new iPhone rumours for this year at least aren't exactly exciting. So it's going to be a really, really interesting September event. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be amazing. Actually, I can't wait. There's so much could go down.
Well, I know, because there's also the new watch, isn't there, that really strongly seems to be like on the horizon.
Yeah, but then also we've had zero leaks of that. And there was like a report on MacRumors today about this new thinner glass panel. But I really think that they should leave it and wait until next year. If to many people it feels like, well, the many things I've read is that WatchOS 3 feels like a new phone in itself, let alone with actual new hardware. And I don't know, I think I'd rather they left it even longer to actually like get their heads around what's going to make a good phone, not just release a slightly thinner, slightly better battery life, a watch. Sorry, not phone. I don't know. I think I'd rather they left it, but who knows? What do you think? Do you think I mean, we're talking about Apple again, I know, but what do you think they will release a new watch this year?
I think they will, but maybe it'll be a little bit later in the year. I think maybe, or maybe even. I still think they're going to tease it first, and maybe like tease it in September, at that event, and then it will come out like early next year or something like that.
Do you reckon they'll do that again? Because obviously that's what it did like 2 years ago, or
they might have another person doing a marathon, through Africa and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I guess there's that. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, anyway, September's event is going to be great. Speaking of like headphones and lack of headphone port potential on the new iPhone, I mean, this is super old because this show happened a long time ago, but Marco Arment was on the talk show, John Gruber's podcast, episode 159, 3 or so weeks ago, and that's a really, really good discussion about the lack of headphone port and what it means and why generally it's considered a really, really bad idea. But if anyone's interested in a genuinely insightful chat about lack of headphone port, they should probably listen to Arment on the talk show.
Cool. Okay, so maybe we should walk on to one of our talking points we got here. So I noticed this is another thing which is kind of it's still going on though, isn't it? Pokemon Go. It's
still happening, yeah. I still see loads and loads of people playing it, absolutely.
Are you still playing it?
No, I've fully stopped now. I haven't deleted it yet, but I don't bother getting it out of my pocket, and only because in the first week or 10 days I was using it quite a lot. It's just the bug was super buggy. Sorry, the app was super buggy. I was closing it and opening it about 20 times a day. It's just constantly crashing. It's just slow. It came with battery life. Yeah, it's just. I don't know, I feel like if I had tons and tons of time and I can be bothered, then it'd be more exciting to actually collect all the Pokemon. But I'm never going to do that. And yeah, I don't well playing it anymore.
See, that's the problem with it, because, I don't know, you see, I deleted it because, I just didn't feel like I had the time to put into it, because you hear all these stories about people that have like walked 50 kilometres to like get like all these Pokemon and stuff like that, and you just think, well, I don't really have time to do that. And the other problem I've got is that around where I live, like usually there isn't much variety, because I live in the countryside. There's hardly any gyms. There's hardly anything around. There's hardly any Pokemon. So it's like there's not really much to collect, really.
Yeah, so I haven't got that excuse because I live in a little town, but then I work in the city, so I go. There's loads of things I can see and do there, but I can't bother to have my phone out all the time playing it, frankly. And I'm super pleased it's done so well, and it's a really interesting concept. But I don't play anymore.
See, and also, I just didn't find it that much fun as a game either. Like, as in, I didn't really. There's not much there. Was the sort of problem I had with it.
No, and we've obviously discussed this on our other podcast, but I've never played a Pokemon game either.
That still blows my mind. I still can't believe that.
No, so in my defence, basically, Pokemon I think Pokemon cards and stuff sort of blew up. Whatever to younger kids, basically. I think it's like kids like 2 years younger than me that were playing Pokemon all the time, and it just didn't seem to hit with my age group at all at that time when it first came about. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was never bothered.
I don't know. When it first came out, I was about how old? Probably about 17 or 18, I think. And but I did give it a try. I never really got into it that much, mostly because to me it always felt a bit like the sort of my first RPG like kind of game. And for that reason, I never really got into it that much. But I don't know. I can see it's that usual thing again. It's like I can see why people think it's good. I can see why people like it. And again, it's not for me though. Really, it's not really.
I'm more interested in playing one now, but I haven't got a Nintendo console currently to play it, so I'll wait for NX.
Yeah, yeah. There's been lots of rumours about that recently as well, but
absolutely,
we'll have to wait till next Monday for that. Okay, so Do you think there's going to be a backlash for Pokemon Go? I mean, there has been kind of already, with people criticising it a lot, but do you think it's going to sort of sink, or do you think it's going to last?
That's a really interesting question. I'm not even sure. I mean, obviously the drop-off is going to be huge just because there's such a huge amount of people playing it. But I don't know. I don't think there'll be a backlash. I think everyone's pretty happy about the game. Even if you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't think a lot of people are resentful of people who do like it. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just interested to see what they do next. I don't think they expect it to blow up in the way it did. I mean, it's a global phenomenon. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that money that they've got, and where they take it in future. I might jump back in. Who knows? But I don't think there'll be a backlash so much. But I do think people will stop talking about it fairly, very soon.
It's certainly lasted longer than Miitomo so far. Which
good point. Although Miitomo this week did add a new mini game in it.
Do you think anyone cares?
No, but I saw a news report on it, so someone does.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's move on to the question of the week. So last week we asked what was missing.
It wasn't last week.
Was it? Okay, it wasn't last week. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last time, I should probably say, we talked about what's missing from your OS of choice. We did get an email, which is pretty exciting, from Gavin Maxwell. And he says, I use iOS and it's a simple one, a file explorer. Would be awesome to move downloads around and import various things into certain apps from the storage on the phone. But we both know that this is never going to happen.
It isn't going to happen, but, and thanks for your email, Gavin, but they are doing something now whereby if you need to upload a photo to Twitter or something, it now opens a different dialog box where it says you can select from things like Dropbox, Photos, Google Photos. So or
iCloud Drive.
Yeah, iCloud. Yeah. So it's and when I first saw that, I was quite excited about that dialogue. I was like, okay, this feels a bit more like a file explorer. So yeah, it's not perfect, but I use that Dropbox as my file explorer in all honesty, for that sort of thing on the phone. But yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, unfortunately. I mean, obviously Android has one, but I love to hear from Android people who use that and think that that's a really great feature and why that works so well on Android.
Yeah, I mean, the closest we got with it is these kind of like basically, cloud file explorers, which is at least something. I mean, at least you can sort of access some things on it. I mean, that should improve when iCloud Drive gets improved with the next version of OS 10.
Yeah. So what are they actually improving with iCloud Drive on iOS?
On iOS, I don't think they are, but on macOS they definitely are, because they're adding that whole thing where it syncs your desktop and everything.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And that could add. I mean, that would be quite useful because anything you're working on, you'd be able to access much more quickly.
Yeah, I did experiment with iCloud Drive and put loads of like PDFs and stuff in, but it seemed a bit flaky even back then. But now I'll just use Dropbox because Dropbox is the best.
That's okay. It doesn't work too bad.
So, James, what's missing from your OS?
See, this was one of your questions, wasn't it, Matt?
It was, yeah.
It's quite a difficult question, actually. But
it's a poorly constructed question.
But there is a feature from Windows Phone that I would like.
Go on.
Okay. You sound very suspicious. I don't know why.
I wasn't sure there were any features on Windows Phone, so this would be good.
There is, and the feature I like is the way that you can restrict data use if you're on a meter connection. Like if you're, the amount of data that's used for different apps and everything.
Right.
Because really, I'd like iOS, obviously, because this is the OS I use, to be smarter about the way it uses data. And so that I could say how much mobile data I have, and then it can smartly organise services so that it consumes less of it, if you sort of mean.
So are you saying it just use less, or that it notifies you when you've hit a certain threshold?
Yeah, I'd like it to be able to, like, if I could put in, like, how much data I've got per month.
Yeah, because Android does that.
Yeah, does Android do that?
Yeah, so again, I've got a fairly limited experience of Android, but the time was, the few weeks a year I do use one just prior to a new iPhone. Yeah, at least on the Motorola devices I've used, you can basically set it to notify you when it hits a certain threshold in data. And it notifies you. I don't think it stops, but at least it tells you, yes, you've hit 20 gig or 10 gig or whatever.
See, one of the things that I really liked with Windows Phone that I saw was the fact that it did a bit like Google Maps, where you can download maps, so they work offline and stuff like that. All of these things you can't do on iOS. Like there's very little like offline services, which irritates me, to be honest, because I'm on what I get is not huge. I don't have like a huge data allowance, so it'd be nice if it could actually manage it a bit better, rather than me having to go through all the settings all the time and keep micromanaging, which apps are using data and which ones are not.
How much data are you on a month? Mobile data?
I get 350 megabytes a week at the moment.
Oh my god, I can't believe you live off that.
Yeah, well, it's because I'm usually near Wi-Fi, so it's. I mean, I'm either working like in university or I'm at home or whatever. Usually there's fast Wi-Fi there, so I don't really need like data that much. But
I guess
when I do need it, it's kind of irritating.
It's just so. I mean, so I'm on 20 gig a month, but that's shared with my wife, but she barely uses any. But it's just so. It's so freeing to have that. Like I barely have Wi-Fi on because when I do, it's slow and rubbish. And I often forget to turn it on at home. Although my Wi-Fi at home is good, I just forget to turn it on because it's usually just on 4G. But it's just so freeing knowing that you can download that TV show, that app, that game, that podcast. You're not worried. It feels like you can do anything on your device, which is what you should do, as opposed to be limited to, or better not download it now because I'm not near Wi-Fi. It's brilliant. It's the best thing I ever did, getting 20 gig a month download.
See, I can appreciate that because I mean, at the moment, I'm not in the UK, and I bought a 3 SIM to leave, because I thought it'd be useful. And with that, you get like 12 gigabytes that you can use like abroad. It works like fine in selected countries.
Yeah,
and it's been brilliant actually because it does feel more. You do feel more freedom, to sort of do what you want. But I'm very cheap with these things. I mean, do you know how much I pay for my 350?
I know you said in the past it's super cheap, but how much do you pay a month?
I pay £4 a month. You see, which is nothing.
Yeah,
and it's
so obviously your phone's not on contract. Clearly,
no. It's I just bought it outright.
Okay, and then you put a £4. Who are you with?
EE.
£4. Oh, yeah, I guess that is. I mean,
because they do what EE do is they do this pay-as-you-go thing whereby for £1 they give you like a certain amount of data, like text that obviously no one uses, and like speaking each week. But then every time that you do that, it like builds up to 12, and then after you've done it for 12 weeks, you can, like they say, you can boost one of these by 50 megabytes, so you can just keep stacking on top of them all the time. So I've been with them for about 2 or 3 years now, so that's how I've ended up with a lot more data, because you just keep adding data every time, and it still stays at £1, which is great.
Yeah, I guess I should do that. I mean, mine and Jill's combined bill's like £70 a month.
Ouch. Okay.
But I did that. I mean, before
is like £8.
Before she was on, my wife had a shitty Android pay-as-you-go phone. I was sick of the phone being crap. I was just sick of everything. So I'd rather I bought like a 5C, whatever. I didn't buy it outright, it's on contract, but I get like half price. I've actually got half price talk time as well. you wouldn't know it, but I don't know. I probably should get a cheaper phone contract, but also I love that data.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, buying outright is quite good in some ways because then you don't have to keep spending every month. It's quite good, but
then you've got to find out £720.
Exactly,
and also like they've obviously the other iPhone rumour for this year is that there's the iPhone, say 7 or whatever you want to call it, 6 SE, but iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, and then the rumoured iPhone 7 Pro, which is an even better version of the 7S, and that's the one that's going to be like potentially about 80 or 100 quid more.
Yeah. So
we could be looking at like 800 quid over here in Britain for I guess it's like a 64 gig phone, but the other rumours that they're potentially starting at 32. Previously, before it did 16 and 64, I always had a 32 gig phone, but I looked at my amount of storage I've got left on my phone now, and I need 64 gig now, so I don't think I can even go back to 32.
What have you got on it that's like 64? I mean, my phone's 64, and it's I've still got about 20 gig free, I think.
Yeah, I should probably go through and delete all the apps that I don't really use, but so I've got 5.4 gig left.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where it all goes actually. I should probably check, but it's not great, is it?
Okay. Yeah, you see, I mean, that's one of the other problems with buying outright, actually, is that then you don't get on the upgrade train either, that you get with with other...
Well, no, because if you buy outright, you just do with a contract. You basically keep it in good nick and then sell it, and then that pays for the new one.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I've never done that. I've never sold a phone. I've sold iPads, but I've never sold the phone.
Yeah, I do it every year, and but this year, I don't know. I might have to miss out. I'm not sure. I have to see how much I can get for this bad boy, and see how good the new one is. If it's not amazing, I might hold off. But we'll see. Lots of things to pay for this year.
What's missing for you anyway? What do you really want though?
I mean, this isn't strictly an OS thing, so I don't know. Okay, I've got two things which aren't actually the answer to the question, but similar. So I've got an issue with the OS, which does my head in, and something I wish the OS did. So something I wish the OS did is I want there to be like a VR thing that that Samsung have clearly done with the Gear VR. I want Apple to do that, really.
Oh, the VR again.
I know, but I feel like it's going to happen at some point, but it just feels like I can't believe they haven't investigated it or done. I mean, they're probably investigating behind the scenes, but I would love that, frankly. The thing that does my head in, right, is this audio playback issue that it just does my head in. So when I know this happens to everyone, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's normal. And then you might watch something on YouTube, and then you go up to play the podcast, and it's playing the YouTube audio. Mm-hmm. Does that annoy you?
Not particularly.
It does my head in. Like I might, I'll be, on a train or something. I listen to a podcast. Someone sends me a link to YouTube. I watch that. I put the phone back in my pocket and I press play, and it's just like it doesn't play anything because the video is finished. Mm-hmm. And it's just I feel like they need to sort out in some way. So when after the video is finished, it goes back to the previous audio source. Anyway.
It doesn't. I thought it does do that. It does that for some things.
It doesn't do it for mine. I just have like so whereas previously, swipe up on the bottom would bring up the tray which shows the audio controls, and obviously previously it had like podcast name and where you are in a podcast and stuff. After you listen to a YouTube video, if you're still listening to it, technically in the background it will have like the name of that. If you finish, it will just have like blank, like grayed out buttons. Mm-hmm. Where you can't listen to anything else, and you got to go back into the podcast app, find what you're listening to, press play. It's just terrible. I can't believe that hasn't been sorted or fixed or changed in some way.
I think it depends on what the media is, because I'm absolutely certain it does that when you're looking at stuff that's like embedded in browsers and things. I'm certain it does, because I've done it many, many times.
I'm just thinking that if I'm actually in the YouTube app or someone sends, and I see a link and it opens the YouTube app and I watch a video of that of a YouTube video, in app or whatever, that's when it does it.
Because but the YouTube app annoys me anyway. I mean, there's still the whole thing about how it doesn't do picture-in-picture on the iPad.
Oh, it doesn't it?
No, it's like the only one that doesn't. Like every other like video like app does picture-in-picture, but YouTube doesn't.
Oh my god, that is ridiculous.
And then people say, it's because they want you to subscribe to YouTube Red, so that then you can because YouTube Red does like background audio as like as a thing. But that's not the same. Like it still doesn't do picture-in-picture even if you've got YouTube Red, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, although I watch tons of YouTube all day, and that YouTube Red does sound quite compelling, the fact that you can play background audio, but I have too many subscription things as it is. I can't have another one. It's ridiculous. So we have a question of the week for next week, don't we? Or the next episode. Let's stop calling it question of the week. It's just question of the show, whatever. But okay. That question is, what other games do you want to see have the Pokemon Go /AR or real life locations treatment? Now, there's going to be tons of games which jump on this. There's going to be loads. In the next 6 months or so, we're going to see tons of these sorts of games. Mm. And I guess the question is, what other games do you think would work well? What games do you think will definitely do it? What would you like to see have an AR version or take advantage of AR? So, James, you need to get a question. You need to get an answer ready. But if anyone else wants to email in, the email address is interfacepodcast@gmail.com.
Okay, but finally, we've also got 2 tweets.
We've also got some tweets. Again, if you want to tweet us, it's at interfacepod. And someone by the name of David Turners has tweeted us a couple of questions, hasn't he?
Yeah, they're pretty good as well. So the first one we got is, what's the most disappointing gadget you've bought?
It's a tough one. Have you got an answer for that?
I have actually, yeah. I remember buying... Have you ever heard of the Play Yan?
The what? The Play Yan?
Yeah, probably. No. That'd be a no then. Well, okay. Well, this is going back quite a long time. You remember how when the PSP came out, it had like pretty good like video playback, and that kind of thing. You could do lots of multimedia stuff with it. Yeah. Well, Nintendo tried to get on the same kind of train with the Game Boy Advance. You see.
Okay. Yeah.
And what this was a cartridge that you could buy, which had a SD card slot, and you could play MP3s, and also you could play videos as well on your tiny Game Boy Advance screen with really bad sound quality. And I bought one of those.
I thought. I mean, that sounds dreadful. But I thought one you were going to say, didn't Game Boy Advance also have a TV tuner? One of them did.
I don't. Yeah, there probably was. I mean, they stuck everything into that slot.
I thought you were going to say that gadget you bought Dave, that Gadget Man, the MP4 PSP rip-off thing. What was that thing called?
You're making a mistake there, because that wasn't rubbish. That was amazing.
Did it play MP5s or something?
It did. It played everything you could throw at it, including ancient Game Boy Advance games as well.
Yeah,
it was. It looked just like a PSP.
Disgusting PSP rip-off. Had a man with awesome hair and potentially leather jacket on the front cover of the box.
But the other thing with the Play Yan was it was you had to use converter software though, because it didn't actually natively play MP3s, because obviously the Game Boy Advance wasn't good enough for that. So you had to recode everything into this really, really terrible format. The same goes for the videos. It was it was. I was really hoping it was going to be something good, but it was terrible.
My God, I've got a really boring crap answer, and then another one. So one of them when I was younger was the Barcode Battler. I imagine you had one, right?
Okay, I can't believe you had one. Hang on, you had a Barcode Battler, but you never played Pokemon.
I had my priorities straight. I was too old for Pokemon when it dropped. I was definitely too old for it. And then Barcode Battler was the right age group.
Hang on. So you never had a Game Boy, right?
I didn't own a Game Boy. My mate Aaron did, and I paid him my lunch, and he could wear my Casio watch for all days for me to play his Game Boy. I finished the Bugs Bunny game on Game Boy. I played his Game Boy absolutely tons, but I never owned my own.
So hang on. So did you have any other handhelds as well, apart from the Barcode Battler?
No. I was really close to getting a Game Gear. Really super close to getting a Lynx.
I'm glad you didn't get one of those. I had one of those. They're dreadful.
Didn't have. I so wanted a Game Gear, but I know. I really wanted a Sega Nomad, which was a portable Mega Drive, if you remember that. I'm not actually sure if that came out over here.
No, it was only released in America.
Yeah, that. So no, first handheld. I guess maybe the first handheld was the GBA. I guess again. No. I had Game Boy Advance probably.
Okay, but going back, what made you want a Barcode Battler? Because nobody wanted one of those.
No, they were cool as fuck. So for those of you who aren't aware of the Barcode Battler, it was I guess we can call it a handheld games console, but basically the deal was...
If you're being very generous.
It's a games console. But basically what it was it looked like a handheld games console, and you had these cards which were barcodes. You sort of swipe the barcode, and what the barcode would generate would be what would it generate?
I don't know, I didn't have one.
A monster or something, and you basically... Every barcode you swiped, you generated a more powerful or different monster, and you would use that monster to fight other monsters or fight other things. I'm not sure. But the great thing is, everything has a barcode. So you can take a label off a tin of soup. That could be like an incredible monster to fight with. Your cereal box, everything has a barcode. That's why it's so brilliant. I mean, everything we had in the house had little squares cut out of it when I was really in the heat of Barcode Battler, because I was making these little Barcode Battler cards, taking the barcodes off magazines, off newspapers, off tissue boxes. There's nothing safe in my house with a barcode on. It's always taken off. It was brilliant.
See, I really urge people to Google the Barcode Battler just to see the quality of what this console was. But you can't even call it a console.
I would love to get another one now. I mean, I know it's only £4 on eBay, if that. So I think we should both get one, and when we meet up next, we'll have some barcode battling.
I can't believe that.
Anyway. Yeah, I loved it. My other shitty answer is I bought this HDMI hub and it never fucking worked, and it's really annoying. It's like the top rated HDMI hub on Amazon. It didn't work properly. What do you do for all your like HDMI devices on your TV? Has your TV's got tons of HDMI ports, or have you got a hub? I need something to work so I can have all my things plugged in and it doesn't break, or it works, or it auto switches, because one I bought was just rubbish.
See, I just got a switcher and it only cost about £5 and it works great.
Okay, so you've got all your devices plugged in. So if you like turn the no, you haven't got PlayStation, of course. If you if you turn on the Apple TV on or Xbox, does it automatically switch, or how?
Yeah, it switches to whichever one comes on.
What if your Xbox is on and you turn the Apple TV on, or vice versa?
That I'm not sure, because I've never tried it, because I always switch one off first before I switch the other one on.
Right, yeah, if anyone's listening to this, one, that's a miracle. Two, tweet us at InterfacePod. I need to find like a decent HDMI switcher. I've basically got like shitloads of devices, and I'm constantly having to plug them in, unplug them, because my TV's only got 2 HDMI ports. So please tweet me at InterfacePod, or tweet me at Matt Murray, Matt with 1 T, so MATMURRAY. Tweet me with your recommendations for a decent HDMI switcher hub thing, because I need one, because my life is being ruined right now by switching cables.
Okay, last question we got from David, which was, what's been your favourite iPhone to date?
I mean, okay, design-wise, the first one, I think the first one is still gorgeous. I mean, I haven't seen one in the flesh for a while, but I love the back of that device, the black and silver. I think it looked amazing. Okay. But I think the iPhone 6 is, and I guess 6S is the best iPhone, definitely. It just feels, okay. Actually, physically in the hand, it's rubbish because it's always slipping out of the hand. But I think everything else, I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. I mean, the one that first iPhone.
Actually, the 4 and the 4S were brilliant too.
See, I would have to go with the 4, because I still think the 4 is a brilliant design, and
it feels so good in the hand as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's just easier to hold. The great thing about the 4 as well, you can like stand up and have it, whereas you can't stand the ones up because they're all curved edges. But the other one, you can stand up on a table. You can rest it on its edge. You don't need like a little fancy kickstand or anything, do you?
See, I don't like the current design that much, because I just think it's a bit boring. It doesn't look that interesting, whereas the 4 really looked like something like new and something like different at the time. I mean, prior to that though, I still have a soft spot for the 3GS, to be honest.
That's one I like the least.
Because that was my first phone. It was like my first iPhone, and I don't know, I still have a soft spot for it. But
yeah, I never liked that one. But the first one I loved. The first one that I loved, and then I went on holiday. It was like the first holiday with my wife and her parents. So obviously I had to be my best behaviour, I had to have a great time, be nice, etc. First day we went to Alicante. I think that's where like some relatives were staying at the time. I went to Alicante. It's like a beautiful, gorgeous beach and really hot. We all went down to the beach. I had like my swimming shorts on, got down to the beach, took my t-shirt off, ran to the sea, frolicked for a good like 15 minutes. Then I put my hand down and realised my phone was in my pocket. Oh no. So that was devastating. This is the first hour or two of the holiday. I planned to take loads of pictures, use my phone as a phone, and no, like that was fucked. I was devastated, as you would imagine. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't, because it's like, it's family holiday. I had to act like I wasn't really bothered. I was absolutely devastated. That basically ruined the holiday for me, because my beloved phone, my iPhone was absolutely dead. Obviously, I put in rice, when we got back, but it was too late. It'd been in the sea for 15 minutes, for goodness sake. There's no amount of rice in the world would save that. So, I was still devastated about that. But the 3G, I never liked that device. I never liked that design, but the 4 was brilliant. Mm-hmm. But I guess overall the latest one is great. It's got a brilliant camera, super light. But yeah, I would probably agree that the design is pretty boring.
Okay, that's about it for this week. I don't want to say that definitely we'll be back next week, because we don't know.
No, anything could happen.
It could. So, Matt, can you give us where we can be contacted?
Absolutely. So this podcast is on iTunes. I'm sure you have subscribed for iTunes anyway, but whatever. It's on iTunes. It's also on Acast. It's on Satchel. It's a new service I added today. It's on Pocket Casts. It's on Pocket Cast. So if you're on Android, you can maybe subscribe for that. I don't know. We're on Twitter, of course. We're at InterfacePod. We love your tweets and responses to stuff we talked about in the show. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/InterfacePod. We're on YouTube as well. New episodes go up on that every time we release a new episode, which right now is every 4.5 weeks. If you want to read show notes about stuff we talked about in today's show, you can go to interfacepodcast.squarespace.com/10. And that is about it. We will get a domain one day. I mean, God, this domain thing is ruining my life too, because I haven't found a domain that's that's satisfactory. So again, domain suggestions would be great as well, because we can't keep having this lame basic Squarespace address. It's embarrassing, but again, very, very busy. If you're interested in things other than just tech and maybe, like, say, I don't know, computer games, James and I also do another podcast called The Computer Game Show. That's also on iTunes, or you can contact the show there, which is at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. If you're more interested in that sort of stuff, then you can give us a bell over there. Why not?
And we actually pretty regularly put those out.
Yeah,
well.
That show definitely goes out every single Wednesday. We record on Mondays, goes out on Wednesday. So if you're into games, into gaming, that's another reason why maybe James and I haven't talked about, say, like the NX rumors or the new Xbox or this, that, and the other. So we're trying to, like, say, keep the gaming chat to that podcast, and this is maybe just pure tech. But we've also had, like, more in-depth conversations about Pokemon Go on that show as well. But yeah, so if you're into gaming, go hit up the Computer Game Show on iTunes and all the other services I've probably just listed. That is about it. We will definitely be back at some point. I'm not going to say next week. I'm not going to say next month, but we will try and do a show as soon as we can. We're busy. We're busy dads. It's tough. James, no?
Yeah. I didn't know where you were going with that, but it's...
I wanted some backup, is what I wanted.
Sorry.
Anyway, I think that's about it, isn't it, James?
It is, yeah. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.